correct. That's the picture is now starting to come together here at the National Results Center. We know that there has been, for the longest time, in fact for all of today, we had been waiting for that elusive 90% mark of the votes being reported. I think we've finally reached that point now. If I look at the board on my far left, it is actually sitting at exactly 91% of the votes being reported. And one of the parties that have actually done well in this particular election and now sitting at position 5 over the overall tally is the Freedom Front Plus. And to talk to us more about that, we're joined by their leader, Mr. Pieter Groenewald. It must feel good to be sitting at number 5.
Yes, of course. I mean, we are part of the big 5 parties in South Africa. If you take in consideration that there are more than 350 political parties registered and participated in this election, it is quite clear that the trend of 2019, when we became also the 5th largest party in South Africa, is continuing also on local government election. And we must remember, there's a big difference between local government elections and national and provincial. So we are quite satisfied. And also if we look at the number of councillors, just to give you an indication, in 2016, the previous election, countrywide, we only had 69 councillors. At the moment, we have 167. It's more than 100% increase in councillors. And I always say the number of councillors, those are the important people, because they are in councils where they can make a decision on a resolution or not. The percentages is also important, but the number of councillors for the Freedom Front Plus is of the essence.
Now, what do you attribute this success to? And I know that in some councils, in most councils actually, have eaten away at the DA's support base. What do you think they did wrong and that you did right this time around?
Well, what we did right, we focused on local government election, meaning, and we said part of our manifesto is to say we must bring back local into local government. If you go and look at our posters, for instance, the slogan we used is "Stop the Decay." I think the mistake, like for instance the DA, they made use of many issues that is actually on national level, which is not part of this election. There are certain things you can't do on local government election. It's as simple as that, and we focused on that and service delivery. Yes, the DA focused on the Freedom Front Plus because they said they want the voters that actually came to the Freedom Front in 2019.
In fact, I was about to come to that to say that you took away a lot of the Afrikaner vote from the DA in 2019, and I can see that that trajectory that trend is continuing in this election. What do you think the DA did that offended the community, the Afrikaner community, and that which we are doing right?
I think, and that was actually part of my answer also, what we did right. The people realized that we are a trustworthy political party. We don't change our policies after an election, and that is where the DA made a mistake. For instance, let's take affirmative action and black economic empowerment. From the start, the Freedom Front Plus always said that affirmative action and black economic empowerment is not acceptable for us for different reasons. The DA at one stage supported it. In Parliament, for instance, in 2013, they voted with the ANC to even increase the quotas when it comes to black economic empowerment. So after the 2019 election, suddenly they've changed, or they said that they've changed their policies. But if you go and look at their policy papers, it is not really true. And the electorate, they know that, and they don't like a political party.
So basically you're saying that the Afrikaner community is against black economic empowerment?
Well, we say we're against black economic empowerment.
And that resonates with the community?
Of course. And you will be surprised. You mentioning Afrikaners. There are many black people that agrees with the freedom.
Where would you find those people?
You will find them in Soweto.
I haven't seen you guys making any inroads in Soweto in this election.
Well, you can go and look at the results. We didn't make huge inroads, but I received the phone calls from Soweto saying...
So they don't necessarily translate to votes. It's phone calls to you.
What do you say? So, well, someone now you say, no, wait, stop there. You say it does not translate into votes.
Yes, because I'm asking you about the areas where you got support in Soweto, as you're saying.
No, I didn't say there are areas. I said it's not only the Afrikaner that is against black economic empowerment. You also get black people. I didn't say we made inroads there. Okay. I said there are black people that agrees. They're phoning me. They're telling me when they meet me. Because I say black economic empowerment is misused in South Africa. It's actually black elite enrichment. It's the same with affirmative action. It's a smokescreen for cadre deployment. So what I say is, of course, they support that. And if you say the Afrikaner, yes, that's why we get the vote.
Now, let's talk coalitions. I understand that there are some negotiations taking place behind the scenes. I understand that you are probably by now talking to Action SA and the Patriotic Alliance already. Can you tell us more about that?
Now, let me first correct you.
Sure.
There are no talks at this moment with any political party, and none has taken place.
No one has approached you?
No one has approached you, and I didn't approach anyone. We will wait for the final results. But I am on record where I said we will not go into a coalition with the ANC or the EFF. We will look at the other political parties. At this moment, we are in a coalition with the Democratic Alliance. That is so. You're mentioning Action SA. I think that if we sit around the table, we will find each other. But what is also interesting, there are many ratepayers type of associations that participated who won seats. And we will have to go and look at their principles. We will have to go and look at the manifestos. And if we can find...
The Patriotic Alliance?
Well, I'm not sure about the Patriotic Alliance.
And why would that be?
Well, they've had some radical statements they've made. So, to be honest with you, I first have to go and look exactly as far as what they said. But I say again, we will go through that process, and that will start tomorrow. When the final results are there, let me know. And exactly which municipalities. Because at this moment, I think there are 52 hung municipalities.
And I'm sure among those municipalities, you have municipalities where you actually even probably hoping to take the mayoral chain. Which municipalities are you that interested in? I'm sure because of the horse trading, a lot will be required. And I'm sure you won't just be giving your support to the dominant party.
Well, if you look at the numbers, then at this moment it looks as if about 12 municipalities, like Langebaan, if you go to the Western Cape, JB Marks in the Northwest and so on, if you want specific municipalities, where we can be the kingmakers. But I also want to say, for the Freedom Front Plus, it's not necessarily about positions. It's not whether you are the mayor or not. What we are interested in is that there be a proper agreement on those principles and what actions we are going to take as a coalition government, and that must be published. That the public, it must be transparent, that they know what this coalition government is going to do. And that's what we're interested in. We're not so necessarily interested in positions.
Sure. And I hear what you're saying about not being interested in positions, but I would argue, though, that you contest elections so that you can win and take power. And obviously, if the Freedom Front Plus is a party that wants the support of the general broader community, they would, at the very least, want to show that they can govern, not?
You're quite right, but we are realistic. We are not a political party trying to make promises which is unrealistic. We know that on our own, we will not be able to take over a municipality on its own. But that doesn't mean that you can't be part of the government of that specific or a specific municipality. That's where coalitions comes in. To give you an example, in 2016, in the Hessequa municipality, there were 8 councillors for the ANC and 8 councillors for the DA. We only had 1 councillor. But that 1 councillor actually ruled in that municipality. Because if there's a clash between the DA and the ANC, that 1 single councillor make the final decision. We went into a coalition with the DA. So the perspective from the Freedom Front Plus, we don't want to mislead the electorate. Yes, we know. And we say we're coming and we're campaigning specifically for minorities and the minorities' rights to ensure equal rights to all. So we are a realistic political party.
There you have it, Mr. Pieter Groenewald. You can see by the grin on his face that is the man who is pleased by the results in this election. He said it himself, telling us that he is now part, the Freedom Front Plus is part of the Big Five in the South African political landscape. And obviously, as we go into tomorrow, when those final results are declared, we will hear the horse trading that will be taking place between the parties. As I said, we are now sitting at over the 90% mark of all the results having been declared, and obviously the picture there is looking grim for a party like the ANC, which for the first time since the advent of democracy since 1994, it is sitting below the 50% mark. It's a huge disappointment for the ANC, but it's also humbling for the governing party. There will be a lot of jostling, there will be a lot of horse trading in the days to come. Yes, tomorrow we will hear the final results that will be declared, but it will not stop there. If anything, most of the discussion, the jostling and the horse trading will begin at that moment. And when we return from the break, Newsfeed PM will continue.